Okay guys, so today we are going to make brown butter banana bread cookies. I'm starting with an entire stick of salted butter. And if you've never browned butter before, this is medium to high heat-ish. You have to consistently stir and stir and stir. It takes about 5 to 8 minutes. So a half a cup of butter is this recipe. And you'll see me just kind of stir, 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 get the butter melted. In this next part, it will get a little bit frothy, so you know you're getting close. And again, this is something that you have to just stand there and do the work and keep stirring until you start to get a little bit of a brown color, which you'll see here in just a second. And again, a lot of attention to this. The frothiness will go away and you'll get almost like a clarified butter look that you see here. This is probably the longest part of this recipe. And however, when it starts to turn this color, this golden brown, it smells so good, and that's how you know you're getting close. See those brown bits that I'm showing you? That's how you know you have brown butter. And if you stick your face over this and breathe in, it's a really delicious, nutty kind of butter flavor. So you've browned the butter, and it has to cool for about 20 minutes. So while that's cooling, we're going to do 1/3 cup of maple syrup. I just got this from H-E-B. It's pure maple syrup, so instead of using sugar to sweeten everything, we're using the syrup. Then we're going to come in with a medium banana, super extra ripe. So the more ripe it is, the sweeter it is. And you can see mine's almost to the point of no return there, super ripe. Add it to the maple syrup and mash it up with a fork. Pretty well. I think for banana bread, I usually don't mash it up in such small pieces, but for this, because it's going into cookies, I want it to be pretty fine. So mash it up with a fork for a little while. Make sure the pieces are nice and small. Then we're going to add in, Then we're going to do our almond flour. So again, our brown butter is cooling. We're going to do 1 3/4 cup almond flour. I don't normally cook with almond flour. I know a lot of people do if you have gluten sensitivity or you don't like cooking with white flour and things like that. I'm a little curious as to how this recipe would turn out if I did use regular flour, and I don't know if it's a 1-to-1 conversion, so maybe I'll try this again with regular flour and see if the texture of the cookies comes out a little bit different. But again, 1 3/4 cup of almond flour. Here in a second, you'll see me add a little bit of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking soda. And don't worry, I'm going to whisk this mixture soon, so those clumps will go away. So again, a teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Whisk that up, get all the clumps out, get everything mixed together. Then we're going to add our cooled off brown butter to the wet mix that we already have with the syrup and the bananas. Let's see, a half a teaspoon of vanilla here pretty soon. One egg first. This is my first time doing a voiceover, guys, of the video that I've recorded, so bear with me. I'm learning. Okay, so we've got our 1 egg, our half a teaspoon of vanilla. Mix that until it's very well combined. I'm cutting out some of the mixing here just for the sake of time, but I whisked that really, really well for a minute or two. Folding in our almond flour, baking soda, and salt mixture. This reminds me every time of Schitt's Creek. Fold in the cheese. What do? You just fold it in. And so I think the point here is just not to overmix it. Then after that is fully incorporated, it actually goes into the fridge for 30 minutes. And you can preheat your oven to 375 while you're waiting. Then once it's cooled in the fridge for 30 minutes, you add in your 2/3 cup of chocolate chips. I have all kinds of chocolate chips at my house all the time. Semi-sweet, dark chocolate, sweet. I don't know what this was. I don't think it matters. The recipe calls for enough ingredients to make a dozen. I got a few more out of my recipe, as you can see. The parchment paper is awesome because it saves on cleanup. We're topping with some coarse salt, and this really does make a difference with the taste. They came out a little bigger than what I would want. But I do feel like the flavor is definitely there. We just have to work on texture a little bit. So maybe the flour difference will be better. Again, flavor is excellent. I do recommend the recipe, but I do think there are some tweaks that are needed. And it could have been me. Maybe it was user error. Either way, let's get to cooking. Enjoy, guys.